the city. She smart, thick and pretty. Hood and sedity. Her mama fucking with me. We the baddest in the city. I'm grimy and I'm gritty, but when I'm with you, I'm shining like a penny. I feel brand new. I hope you do too. Took her to Benihana. She turned head like she Madonna. She can't sing, it's her persona. Man, everybody wanna. Your girl gave my girl a number. Wanna have a party like slumber. If she need wood, I'm a lumber. If she got a leak, I'm a plumber. We hotter than the summer. We got money if you talking numbers. She wearing a dress, and I'm looking under like I sitting right. That shit is dumb dumb. Sit it on my face until you come. Girl, you got that sauce. That yum yum. You say that pussy good, and I want some. Don't tease me. Don't tease me. Don't tease me. Please me. Every time I go inside, angels are all I see. I can't get out of your vibe. Loving you is all I need. Peace to everyone. Peace. It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Also altercreations.net. It's a movement, it's a vibe, it is some spiritual things that is happening. So yeah, man, how are y'all? Just got back into town today. Me and my wife and my two children, my two older children, went on a spiritual retreat, one might say. I had such a beautiful time, and I just wanted to take the time to kind of detail what I've been going through the past couple of days and some revelations that came about. So we were scheduled to go to Atlanta, and please forgive me, I meant to in the link or in the description or in the comments, I'm gonna pin a comment after this video to the GoFundMe. But we were scheduled to go to Atlanta to do a vending event, and an accident happened, and you know, an accident happened, and the link is gonna be in. If you care, you can click the link to the GoFundMe and help that family out. I personally will do that. But you know, an overall absolute tragedy that we'll bounce back from, and we'll reschedule the event, and we'll do something real big for the ancestors. So that created some time in my schedule. And so me and my wife had already planned to do a offering to the Susquehanna River. Now, if you don't know about the Susquehanna River and the Chesapeake Bay and nothing about that, then that's fine. But the Chesapeake Bay is very symbolic in secret society and you know, just all of that type of lore. A lot of things happen along the bay, you know. Even when you go to Susquehanna River, there's an actual point, like a trail along the bay where the Susquehanna flows into the Chesapeake Bay. There's a marker, a night marker of Captain John Smith. My wife took a picture of it, of 1608, like, and then it's like leading up to some steps, like, so at this particular point you have the actual space that the invader decided to stake claim. And so my personal belief is that they presented themselves in ritualistic form and ritualized those particular areas and knew certain things about those particular areas energetically, and manipulated it. You could Google Susquehanna mystery and travel down that wormhole if you would like. But I'm not going to do that because I have a lot to talk about. So generally we decide, okay, we're going to do the offerings and the Susquehanna River. And but it was kind of one of those things where it was kind of loose, you know. We were kind of left and right about it. Not, we knew where we were going, but we just, you know, we decided to take detours. And so the first detour was Grave Creek Mound in Moundsville, Virginia. Soon as we walk up on top of the mound, there's 3 eagles circling, and we did our first offering there. It was just a powerful experience, just kind of the eagles and the revelations, and just chilling with my family, bringing my sons there and things of that nature. It just felt good, you know. And from there, we drove around Moundsville for a little bit, and then we headed back to the highway. And this is the border of West Virginia and Pennsylvania, I'm thinking. Were we in Pennsylvania or West Virginia? Okay, so the Ohio-West Virginia border, there's an actual temple of gold. And so we see it on the side of the road like a marker or whatever, and I'm like, you know, having my wife do her Googles, like, you know, what is this temple of gold, you know? We're not really doing nothing, and she's reading it off, and she eventually says it's a temple, so I'm like, bet, let's go, let's see what it's about. You know, and she's like, you know, it's 30 minutes out the way. I'm like, you know what, it's all good, you know. And I don't know if you ever traveled in Ohio, West Virginia mountains. That shit is treacherous. Like, it is the most stressful driving I've ever had to incur in my life, because it's isolated and desolated. On our way there, we were literally the only car on the road, except for a goddamn tractor trailer in the middle of the road just doing this damn thing, because don't nobody travel up in this road. So it's me, my wife, my 2 children. We're traveling up this mountain. We're traveling for 30 minutes up a mountain, literally. And if you follow my channel, I speak about the deity Jagannath a lot. Like, that's one of my deities that interests me. Yeah, John gets excited when we talk about Jagannath. And, you know, the video titled Entropy and a host of other videos where I speak about Jagannath. And so we pull up into this temple, mind you, 30 minutes of driving up a goddamn mountain, twists, turns, turn, twist, twist, turn, twist, up a mountain, up a mountain, twist, turn, twist. And I'm like, I would never ever drive on the Pacific Coast Highway, like, ever, like, because it was so stressful. But we made it all the way to the top, and, you know, we get there, and I'm parking because I'm just getting info for real. I just want to see what it's about, because I didn't plan to stay. I didn't plan to stay or nothing like that. I just was getting info. They like, no, we serving free lunch. And, you know, me and my wife was hungry. We was about to go get something to eat anyway. So he's like, you know, free lunch, you know. So we walk, and they like, you know, it's in the temple. So we walk to the temple. My wife, kids, they already out the car. So I'm like, cool, bet. We about to eat lunch at the free lunch or whatever. And, you know, and see what's good, and then bang out. So we walk in, magnificent temple, like like splendid temple, like you literally, I heard the choir in my head, like I heard walking through there, right? And lo and behold, they have a Jagannath temple, and I'm just interested in the fact that they have this Jagannath temple, and I want to talk to somebody about it, because this shit is blowing my mind. Because it's like, you know, me studying Jagannath is extremely obscure, even in Hinduism. Like, most Hindus don't really speak about Jagannath. At least I never heard them. It's more of the Shiva, Krishna, Ganesha, you know, Lakshmi, Kalima, and all of that. So, you know, it's Hindu people, it's white people, is people from international people. They make their pilgrimage to this particular spot to worship Jagannath. Like, and to me, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you gotta understand the level of what the fuck, because we didn't even have to go there, you know. And mind you, I got a Jagannath shirt on, or a Jagannath shirt in the car that I made personally. Like, I'm so enthralled with the energy that I make a shirt and I like have it in the car. Like, and I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. After that, I kept the shirt on the whole time. I wore the shirt for 3 days straight. I took showers and shit, but I just was just so fucking like, yo, what the fuck? Like, how does he have an altar in a temple? And to me, it was profound because the energy spoke to me so strong, but it was so very close. Being that's the reason that, and me thinking that it was so far and so obscure that it was kind of just right around the corner. And literally paying my offerings at the Grave Creek allowed me to kind of open up this vortex. And then from there we broke bread, we talked to this lady from Poland, and from that, you know, see, what you got to understand about Hinduism, soon as you walk in the door, they talk about reincarnation. Like, that's the first thing that you understand about Hindu, Buddhism. Just the whole culture is based upon the idea of reincarnation. And the idea of reincarnation, if it's lost upon you, you've lost everything. Like, imagine, you know, you walk out the house one day and somebody take your keys, everything. You come home and you don't even have a house no more. It's just an empty space. That's what it's like when you don't factor in reincarnation. So in conversing with this beautiful lady from Poland, she could feel the energy. She was tripping off on me like, how the fuck do you know who Jagannath is? And where the fuck did you come from? You understand? It's real odd to see 4 black people just roll up in your temple talking about where Jagannath at. And that's extremely odd. How would you even know? Mind you, I could talk for hours on the mythology. Then it dawns on me, it sets on me like, yo, that's my energy that I'm carrying. So that's very good to know. And we break bread, keep it moving, and then we do another hour and a half in twisty turny topsy turvy mountains of West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Like, oh my, I still have nightmares from that shit. And I love interstates, I love streets, I love hills, I like any type of regular shit that you, any type of regular land that you got. I love that shit because the mountains, whew, crazy. So we make it to the Susquehanna. What else? What happened? Anything significant happened between there and the Susquehanna?
Besides the Eagles?
Oh, I seen, no lie, this week seen about 100 eagles, and I'm trying to figure out the significance. I'm googling shit like, you know, is eagle sightings normal? Is everybody out there, is y'all seeing eagles every fucking where? Because I'm literally feeling like I'm being stalked by eagles. I've seen so many eagles circling around me. Like, I would take pictures of it. I took a few pictures on my social media, but that does not even compare. My wife can bear witness. Like, these eagles, these golden eagles, or these hawks, or these vultures, they are literally guiding me somewhere. And trust me, all of this ties into what we're going to talk about, but I gotta kind of share this and put this out. And so we go to the Susquehanna, such a beautiful town. We spent a couple days in Havre de Grace, Maryland, and just really gave. So another wild thing, like, we do the GPS, it's 444 miles to get there from where we at, and the length of the river Susquehanna is 444 miles, and we sitting there at that spot, like, you know, this journey, it has purpose, and we always seeing these synchronicities of these 444s and all of these things. And what it all pointed out to was that everything has a particular purpose, and everything has a perfect synchronicity if you go off the beaten trail. You wouldn't necessarily know how synchronized your life is, how perfect your existence is, how much you know about yourself, unless you understand your lifetimes, unless you understand your energy. And your energy is written in mythology, but the context is different. The names are switched, the roles are switched, but you gotta really find yourself in your studying what resonates with you and really hit it hard, because from doing these offerings, from doing the things that we were doing, and all of this, the symbolism and, you know, everything, like just thinking about my life, you know, whether it's on the internet or whether it's in like actual daytime, like just being with my family and things of that nature, it's a level of protection that spirit gives you, and honoring that, offering that. So we did, you know, major points, major clearing of ancestral energy. I personally carry Ogun energy. I carry Vulcan energy. I was born on August 23rd. That's Vulcan's day. So when you think about me, think about a railroad track, and literally of the Susquehanna Trail, there's a literal railroad track. It's an abandoned railroad track, but it's like a railroad track nonetheless. So imagine my surprise of the place where we decide to give offerings, the place where these people have ritualized this area to kind of magically, you know, take over. Whether it be this is a good defense fortification, or whether this is an actual portal, or whether this is an actual ley line or grid point where we can actually manifest and use this energy for our benefit. See, you may not know this or understand this or give a fuck about this, but this is what these people are doing. Nothing is stopping you from doing it except your routine, everything that you decide to do, you know. And so having that little bit of time, that little bit of window of time, gave me so much insight, so much in the dream realm, so much of just bonding with my family, just kicking it with my kids and seeing how funny they are, how goofy they are, and, you know, just having a great time, and all in the name of giving thanks to spirit. And I just invite you or challenge you to understand what you could do in connecting to nature and the creativity that you can develop in the many different ways we can give thanks to nature. Because when you think about a river is water and movement, and it creates a current, and that current is energy. You as a spiritual being can tap into it, and it's like, you know, people who live there, they just live there. They don't really give a shit. They gotta go to work in the morning. And me, I don't live there. I'm not from there. I'm from Ohio. There is no body of water with this much of a strong energy force where you could really do magic. So I challenge you, if you live by a river, like, think about stadiums. My wife brought this point up. The major stadiums that we know, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Detroit, they all sit on bodies of water. I don't think that's by coincidence. I think that these energies, like, the reason why your ass don't live by no goddamn river. Like, I don't live by a river, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could only imagine, but, you know, I get to visit rivers and things of that nature, but I know that like, think about, you could say, oh, it's about the port and the way that the river, you know, the ships and things of that nature. But then again, it's a particular energy that people use and harness, whether it's stadiums, nightclubs, restaurants. They just really want your energy. They really want you to buy into this grid system that they've created. But, you know, it's an actual grid system that you created that exists in nature, that nothing is literally stopping you besides your routine. So I just wanted to share that and get into this astrology. So April 5th, the new moon will be in Pisces. A lot of people is gonna say that the new moon is gonna be in Aries, but they're talking from a Western perspective. I'm looking at it from a Vedic perspective, rather. And so, understanding this Vedic perspective, understanding that the sun and the moon, they're conjunct. And we have an opportunity to transform our lives. And when I say transform our lives, I'm speaking in a very much biological sense. I referred to this on my last video, trauma. Consequently, we're dealing with trauma now. And so in my video, I spoke to how trauma can be non-local, meaning that you don't even have to be there to experience trauma that's felt by other people. And just by, you know, their trauma, based on their particular programming, based on their particular, you know, triggers, they're sad makes you sad. Now, I don't want to trigger nobody, and I don't want to make nobody upset. But I personally know what it's like to lose someone very close to you and nobody give a fuck. So when people die, it's like, you know, it sucks, you know, and it doesn't feel good, but life goes on. And I don't necessarily think that it's appropriate to just, you know, it'd be like, you know, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just don't feel like we could emotionally tarnish what you've been building and where you've been going because things happen outside of your control. And then not even knowing the full story, and then kind of running off with particular conspiracy theories about this or that, and not even respecting or even having the compassion of, you know, damn, somebody just lost their father, somebody just lost their partner, a mother lost their son, and that's very fucked up. And what they need is support, not you doing gematria on their fucking name, seeing how old they are. Oh, they're 33, and you know that hurts, because I know how people stigmatize you when someone close to you die, and they don't offer you no condolence, they don't offer you no support. Like, I know what it's like to lose somebody and not get support, and really get support from really strange people. And it's like, damn, these people don't know me from shit, but can understand what I'm going through and give me the help that I need. And people that I love looking at me doing the gematria shit, like, you know. And it was 33, and 33 is the number of Christ. Like, you know, that shit don't matter right now, and it might not ever matter, because someone lost their life when they wasn't ready to go. And so generally we have to take a moment, like whatever happened to a moment of silence, you understand? Like a moment of silence for all the souls that have transitioned. You know, there's a young girl in my community where I grew up in Canton, Ohio, that passed away through gun violence. You know, that hurt me more, you know. And it's not a contest, but shit, man, I know what it's like for young people to die in their 30s and their teens and their 20s. And I've seen this story so much that we shouldn't even be numb to this shit. We should not be numb to this shit. We should realize that, you know, the goal is to heal trauma, because trauma is non-local. And when we talk about trauma, the number one trauma is grief. expecting somebody to be here tomorrow and they're not here is something that is very hard to get over. And so when we talk about the sun conjunct the moon in the constellation of Pisces, we're talking about something very specific, something that is available to you outside of your everyday. And so I just want to touch on this real quick because a lot of people don't really touch on this and they don't really understand this. You could be, you know, you have a talent, you have a gift, and you probe that gift, you probe that talent, it interests you, but really it's a guiding force. And man, it's a lot of things. I remember when me and my wife first got together, and she would always be like, you know, I can't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember about the rice. I'm like, can you cook me some rice, babe? She like, I can't cook rice. And I'm just like, what you mean? Like, it just don't ever turn out right when I cook it. So like try to cook rice. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it's like, you'll get it. Like, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that was early in the relationship, but I don't even think she even act that way no longer. It's like, once you get into fashion, like I remember also, she's like, you know, you be reading and shit like that. I'm not like that. Now she read way more than me. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of, like, I knew that she was more than what she, like, just off GP. Like, she had a gift, she had a talent. She first had to believe in herself and do the research and really enlighten that genius. And through the dream work, through the clarity, through the altar work, through the nature work, and really hitting spirit hard, I feel like, man, we don't got a mansion or a high rise or anything like that, but I feel very in tune with my wife and at peace with her, and being in unison in nature and protected by spirit. And I feel like that's very important moving forward in these days. It's a very much of a cloak. It's a cloak of spiritual protection beyond, you know, having a lot of money and having a lot of prestige and having a lot of success. Because, like, what is that though? Like, what is that really? When, you know, anything can happen to you, and if you want to live in that space, if you want to live in that field, that field is a field of fear, and fear doesn't allow you into the spiritual door. So we want to tap into a level of calmness, a level of peace, and then we need to understand ourselves holistically. And when I say understand ourselves holistically, Pisces is two fish. It is me, like, it's Kyrie. Y'all know me. I grew up in Akron and spent some time here and there and everywhere. Kyrie, we all know Kyrie. That's not holistic. Even if I get a mansion, even if I get a nice car, if I'm homeless, if I can dunk a basketball, if I'm 6'4", no possibility I get a good job, I'm CEO of a company. All of that is encapsulated in Kyrie, and I can never be whole. If I'm fit, if I'm fat, if I work out, if I don't work out, if I eat meat, if I'm veggie, all human, then I'm not whole. So a lot of people think, oh, I eat good, I got a good job, my kids are healthy. You know, the list goes on and on and on about the human traits that one could accept and adopt and figure themselves to be whole. But you are not whole until you understand rule 1 of Hinduism, rule 1 of Buddhic thought, rule 1 of Vedic thought. As soon as you get into the classroom, you got many lifetimes, and your idea is to reconstitute them into this actual existence and not be held back by this particular lifetime. Because this lifetime is full of karma that you've accumulated through many lifetimes. Well, why don't I know this? Because you don't even Google Vedic thought. You never even researched it. If you researched it, or you've heard niggas be like, oh, hey, play that Erykah Badu, I guess I see you next lifetime, and be jamming to that shit, and never, it just don't sink in, do it? It don't resonate, it don't penetrate the core of your heart. So this is what heart consciousness, this is what Pisces is, this is what you're actually searching for. You're literally searching for your heart. You're not literally searching for this life, because like I said, I can be anything right now. I can have any amount of money right now. It does not matter in the realm of Pisces, the realm of the 12th house, the realm of the realm of endings. You know, at a certain point, it's not your brain where you find your genius. It's your heart where you find your genius, following your heart. Okay? And so, one of the tropes or one of the ideas that you work with this particular space is the immortal body. I'm sorry, bro, if this is too deep for you. I'm sorry, sis, if this was too deep for you. I'm sorry if y'all expected me to talk about what y'all expected me to talk about. But like I said, I'm in moment of silence mode. I'm just thinking about his children right now. And that's just nasty to me. That shit that niggas is, if y'all got a video out here trying to get views off that man's name, that's disgusting. You're disgusting. I don't like you. But anyways, so the immortal body, sun and the moon, it allows us to tap into, embrace, and walk into our immortal body. You can Google this. Gnostic thought, or any type of thought, is a level of understanding, a shadow side, a spiritual side, a magical side. And we've been inundated with this trope or this idea. We gotta really deal with this shit, or if we don't deal with this shit, what else is we gonna talk about? How you and your boyfriend doing? Like, what else is we gonna talk about? Did you get fired from your job today? Oh, you gotta go fill out some more applications. You gonna start your business? You afraid to? Okay. Basically, what I'm talking about is the same old shit, just a different day, same problems. And where we think we're trying to be whole, where we're trying to really get it together, and we really trying to make this shit right, and we really trying to make this shit go, we not really doing it, because if we was doing it, we would be incorporating our oversoul, and that oversoul is encapsulated in mythology and spirituality and nature and energy and currents and ley lines and your points of interest and your resonation, the things that you want to study. What it is not in is your everyday dull routine that makes you feel good, makes you feel safe. Feels good to go to work every day, pay your bills on time, and not have to be evicted. But, you know, at a certain point, life becomes more of a challenge, and some of us meet that challenge. Some of us just simply, you know, go fucking crazy. or worse. You know, so generally we want to transform our lives, and I spoke to that earlier, I alluded to that, but I don't know if I completely finished my thought. Transforming your life is a biological experience. A caterpillar is not a butterfly. You don't never see a butterfly and be like, look at that caterpillar with wings. You never even factored that in. You only seen a new creation, and that creation of butterfly, your wings, and the way that you travel is through developing your consciousness. You don't develop your consciousness by wearing ankhs. You don't develop your consciousness by joining a sister group, joining a brother group, joining a secret society. You develop your consciousness by following your spirit, raising your genius, following that moral compass that tells you, I should be here, I should be in this relationship, I should leave this job, I don't need to be here. You know, that shit is real. Take a left, take a right. But we got to a point where that part of ourselves is atrophied, and maybe it hasn't atrophied in you, but it sure had atrophied in me, and this woke me up to something. And so understanding this and being able to move forward in this, it allows me to elaborate on the square. The square resides to Saturn and Pluto in Aquarius. And no, Saturn and Pluto is in Sagittarius. Let me correct my notes. And albeit this being live and I talk, like my mind moves faster than my voice, and so I may make mistakes and things of that nature. It's okay to correct me. It's okay to get clarity on what I'm saying and things of that nature. I always leave a time for the end of the videos for how people feel about you, because one, is not real, and for two, it really blocks you out of your purpose. Even though people feel negative ways towards you in your success, you can sense it, you can feel it, but you got to really understand that they are really going through something within themselves. And the problem is not that they feel negative towards you. The problem is that you engage and you don't, like, you really don't see it as shadow projection. You see it as maybe they're right. And let me check them. Let me get the record straight. And it ain't no record to be straight. You need to really get in tune with the processes, man. With the processes. So finally, we're gonna talk about Mercury and Neptune's conjunction in the sign of Aquarius, and this energy actually sextiling Saturn and Pluto, which we just talked about. Just as I want people to like me, or I want people to hate me, or I care what people feel about me, is a block. And if that is the reason for you not to do something, if that's the reason for you not to be everything that you want to be, then it's literally based in this reality. Because we talking about nature beings in an unnatural society. And if you look at it any other way besides that, you're gonna be fucked up. It's like, it doesn't work. Nature isn't perfect in straight lines and beautiful all the time. Nature, it exists, is beautiful. It has beautiful parts, has ugly parts, has treacherous parts, dangerous parts. And you being that is your power. People are afraid of you because they're afraid of you knowing who you are. Once you know who you are, not know who you are as the goddamn first black man, woman to dance on stage with your left foot tied behind your goddamn ass cheek. Not because people is just like, you know, use the, like, that shit kills me. That's such a disrespectful term, the first black anything. What is that? It ain't about that. It's not about being successful in an unnatural world. And what you will see is people trying to perpetually reach a status and never reach solace or peace in their heart. Because what you've been looking for in this particular system, you needed to find in your heart. So this is an actual mythology that plays over and over and over and over again. And this mythology is trounced and, you know, poured on with trauma. It's like, so like trauma sauce. It's like a big rib dipped in trauma sauce, and you know, as soon as you take a bite, you know, you got the itis, trauma-itis, and don't have shit to do with you. And you might think that is isolated because it's hip-hop, but it happens to affluent people too. They are made to feel bad for certain individuals, and that pull is them, you know, pulling resources out of their pocket because they feel like they need to help people. Like, this is just human nature. Shadow projection works like that too. It's like we want to feel bad, and when something bad happens and we can all get together and talk about a bad thing, that feels good. But my thing is, don't pick and choose the things you feel bad about. Don't I don't care. Don't now care about the death of black men due to gang violence. because that been happening for so long. I don't know. I guess everything has its particular purpose, but you know, just keep that same energy when the young man in your neighborhood gets shot and killed, that may have children that have to live their life without a father, that might need some direction and might need some help in the future. That's very important. So maybe you got this shit down pat. You got your lifetimes in check. And this talk is not for you. You know who you are. You know that you're Pikachu reborn. You about to light this motherfucker up. Light this motherfucker up. But if you feel lost, if you feel like, you know, life is beating my ass, like I'm not very happy right now, you might need just take a pause to the ass whooping. Postpone the ass whooping. Give yourself a chance to see why it feels negative, because it feels negative because you should be somewhere else. So really use this new moon to really step into the particular space needed to really align with your true self, not the inundated one that you've been lied to about. So, card of the week is Three of Wands. The Three of Wands at a certain point speaks to clarity when making decisions. And if you're not clear, then don't make decisions. You could get into so much trouble. Like, what do you mean? The Three of Wands is like trying to figure out, should you invite this toxic person over because you're horny? That's the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is like, you know, should I do something to better myself because I feel the energy towards it? Like, yes, you should. But it's light and dark, though. You can see it as a negative impulse, but then you can see it as a positive impulse to do something different, to do something better. But it does not happen without clearing out the karma. Nothing can happen until you deal out the karma, because you've been shadow projecting for many, many lifetimes for many, many different reasons. For you to just pinpoint some shit that happened last weekend as to why you're feeling down, oh my goodness, baby, you just need a lot. You just need way more. Nothing can happen now that hasn't happened already. So if you're not focused on healing, if you're not focused on connecting and becoming whole and really doing the research and really doing a study and what resonates to you mythologically, you have a whole slew of things that you resonate to, and it could be Christian. Don't let people take you out of the Christian bag if that's your bag. Get into the Gnostics. I'm reading right here, and plot point 3, spiritual studies or teaching. You know, like what reflects you? Because if it reflects you, there's a connection there, and you could, I want to say, but yeah, you could exploit that connection. I exploited that connection, not in a negative way, not in a perverse way, but, you know, people be feeling things from different energies and they don't deal with it because they feel like it's wrong. But this ain't that Three of Wands energy. The Three of Wands energy is like, yo, you got this. It's time for you to take off. And it is like, you know, you can see the results. You can see everything happening for you. But then again, like, are you in this space? Because you could not be in this space at all. And I know if you're not in this space, you in this regular human life, and you gotta go to work or something happened, and you know, and it's messing you up, and you can't get over it, and you don't think that you have it in you to transform. And I'm telling you, you do. And that negative feeling and that pull towards, you know, not doing the same shit that you've been doing, you have to embrace that. You know what that's called? That's called the cocoon. A cocoon is a biological thing. You just gotta just say fuck it. and just like I'm saying, not just say fuck it if you on the path and everything's good, but if you already in a negative space, you have to submit yourself to the cocoon. Because what happens after the cocoon? You turn into a butterfly. You raise your consciousness. You let go of the thing that's been holding you back, and you open yourself up to something real. And I'm only speaking through this through experience. I'm not speaking through this through some shit that I'm reading. There's some shit that I'm really feeling and some shit that I'm really resonating with. So plan to do some more videos throughout the week. Just got back in a town, and first thing I did was kind of work on this video and kind of like just try to just encapsulate this little weekend, because this weekend has been kind of crazy. Another story, this idea came to me. Where's the phone?
It's dead.
Oh, it's dead. Well, this idea came to me. My wife can bear witness. This was about 11 a.m. earlier. I had the idea of the Messiah. I have an idea of a Messiah complex, and the story is rather complex, but I had a vision of this corporation that wants to kill messiahs, and they know who the messiahs are. This was before anything had happened, so if it's related to that, then it is, but I don't know. But I had a vision of a pregnant woman giving birth to her child in a prison cell, and she had to raise that child in that prison cell, but somehow the mother had passed away, and so the son got passed on to the original captor's son. You know, some time had passed. The original captor passed away. The captor's son took the mother's son that passed away, and somehow he gets out. Somehow he escapes through the grace of his mother giving him advice and things of that nature. He escapes this prison, but mind you, he's been in this prison his whole life. So he has nothing, and so because of this fact, he ends up being arrested, just being in the wrong place or wrong time. And once he gets arrested, they do the fingerprints, you know, because this is protocol. You got to kill these messiahs, because once they figure out that he's a messiah, there's nothing that you can do. See, the idea of a messiah is you don't know you're a messiah. You don't know. You have no connection to it. So once he's in the cell and they doing all of this, he gets led into a throne room. He has to get released from prison. He gets led into a throne room, and they put him on the throne, and they place this young man on the throne, and they give him his crown. And, you know, this was something that I thought of at 11. We were on our way driving to Detroit to pick up our baby. And, you know, probably 6 hours later, you know, this was like, I felt like everybody was on their phones at that particular time and just spread like wildfire, and I was just sitting here like, damn. Now, when you think about spirituality, everything is cause and effect, and we don't know the reasons for nothing, but we do know that our greats and the people that really have their true destiny end up dying in the most tragic way, and is always chalked up to gang violence. And I just don't believe that, and I could be wrong. But the message was very clear to me, and my wife can bear witness. She was there. There is a king in your life that is not getting treated like a king, and he doesn't know that he's a king. I know that there's a king in your life, and if you know a king that doesn't know he's a king, please start treating him like the royalty that he is. Don't try to take that away from him. Don't try to take that away from her. There's a queen in your life. There's somebody royal, of royal bloodline, of royal stature. You know it and you see it, but what do you do for real? You hate, because you're not like that. And that's okay that you're not like that. But since we're gonna hate on each other, right? They're gonna gun us down, or we're gonna gun each other down. But however it looks, we're just not recognizing and treating our royalty like such. We're not protecting them. But yeah, I do read my chat. I just had to get through that. I was gonna open it up to questions. So is there any questions? I think you see it in people's aura and the way that they carry themselves, and maybe they don't. Maybe it's the opposite of that. Maybe it's somebody who's extremely shy and extremely bashful and extremely reserved. Generally, people who want things just handed to them and just things done for them, and they don't want to really work for shit. You might call them lazy and they don't want to work for nothing, but it could be that they're royalty in past lives. Peace, though. Peace, Stray. I know I couldn't be talking not like everybody else, but I think the reason of that is because I do a lot of research, and I can't lie to people. Not saying that I lied before, but it's like, if I find some truth with my platform, I gotta speak it in a certain way. So, yeah, it's exactly like the Jagannath energy. The Jagannath energy is very much opposite to Christianity. It's like the polar opposite in a sense, and it's been villainized and suppressed in all of us, and it's literally jacking off temples all throughout the Western Hemisphere now, and maybe they were always here. Something that I kind of wonder about. But do your research on Jagannath temples in the West. Look up ICKSCOM or something to that effect. Just look up Jagannath in the West or Jagannath temple. You'll find it. Entropy, man, this world is something that you literally program. You literally gotta understand it, And if you trust everybody's word on it, like, I'll be listening to people just not know what they talk about. But, like, it's something within us that we just feel like we just know everything. And if you feel that way, like, I don't gotta listen to this nigga, I know everything, or I don't agree with this or whatever. For one, show me proof. And for two, like, man, that's gonna prevent you from learning a lot of shit in the future. Like, man, if my mind wasn't open to, you know, technology, then I wouldn't even have this understanding. Like, I have to, like, everything happens for a reason, and you could be hating your life right now, but it's a reason why you're there. So soak up the reason why you're there, and then move forward. Like, and then the ancestor energy, as all that jazz had brought up, that ancestor energy is your protection moving through this shit. Like, that is your protection. And if you're not drenched and bathed, and, you know, if your rib, like, you got a smoked rib, beautiful smoked rib, you can dip it in A, trauma juice, or B, ancestor juice. My ribs is dipped in nothing but ancestor juice. I mean, I dipped them. I dipped you. You know how I like my ribs? I ain't ate ribs in years, so I'm projecting, but I like to throw them in the sauce, then throw them back on the grill, so the sauce can be baked in. That's how. Oh yeah, I like my ribs like that, soaked in ancestor juice. I don't know what, like, you know what I'm saying? It could be trauma juice, though. Sad about, you know, death that don't really exist. Or it could be some ancestor juice and give you the codes needed to move forward. Yeah, exactly. And all that jazz. I don't even know if you even watched the beginning of the video, but I went into a whole spill about Jagganoff. So, you know, all of that, it applies. Like, I think that's like one of the prerequisites. Like, that's one of my most informative, most powerful videos, and kind of really set me off on this path, is the entropy video. Just Google me and entropy. Like that within itself, that information was just profound. And that's the world that we're living in. We live in a world built upon laws and built upon particular, you know, buildings must fall. And in that space, you might not want your building to fall. So how do you not get your building to fall? Magic. If you're not incorporating a magical routine, if you're not incorporating your altar work, if you're not deifying yourself, taking yourself seriously, you trying to get an A at the job, then you're not going to understand. Most people not going to understand because they trapped. If you figure, you like trying to scratch your head, you trying to lift the veil, you know what I'm saying? You're in the right place. You got to get into that altar work. Yeah, I haven't ate ribs in so long. But check us out though, altercreations.net. We have this shit here, you know what I'm saying? Everything that you buy, we send right away, unless it's like something made to order, something personal, or if we run out of stock. But for the most part, we have all supplies here, and we keep it updated. Check the inventory, like everything, you know, it's just starting, but we feel so good about it, what we're doing, and we know that it's gonna be successful. So we know that it's gonna be successful because we love building up people's altars. Like, we love building up our own altars. We know the importance of altars, and we know that people don't give a shit about altars. Like, every church you go to, every Mexican restaurant you go to, every Chinese restaurant you go to, every nail salon you go to, got a fucking altar. You walk into your house, you don't got shit, and then you worrying about why your life ain't right, why your life ain't together. Your altar not right. I don't know how people, and you get these spiritual people, like, I don't need an altar because everything is in my head. I'm not part of that. I'm not, like, this world is a part of my head, and if I'm an engaged part of this world, I have to get up and get out and see it. I can sit here all day and talk about jogging off, but I literally sync the energy with my own eyes in different aspects that I never seen it, that I needed to see it to move forward, what I need to go through. and being protected from entropy, finding that safe space, finding that black hole. Jagannath is literally a black hole in a world full of chaos. So I really want y'all to be protected. I really want y'all to be guided. I don't want to hear about no crazy shit happening in the news or no shit like that, because it's the season for that. You know. How do you put your altar at, how do you put up an altar at work? I mean, I put up my, I got my little figurine. It don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't, you know what I'm saying? You ain't about to tell me shit about my figurine. So, you know, I have my books, and then I have like some things for my children, and you know, your work altar should be your work altar. One of them things that my cousin does when he's at work, he calls them servitors, and I guess they work really good. Like, he creates little sigils and has them do particular tasks for him at work, so he don't gotta focus on it. And I don't know, you could really flex when you at work. Like, it's a all right, this is another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm sorry if I'm getting too deep. If you don't like deep shit, then just get off the video. If you like deep shit, stay tuned. So, you work a job, but your spirit work a job too in a space. Like, it's working too. When you're working, it's working. And you don't have to necessarily work at a job to be working, to be productive. But the reason why you feel so good, or the reason why you trigger into working or fool into working, is because your spirit gets to do work. And that work is sent because we live on three-dimensional planes. They call it 3D, 3 dimensions. It's this dimension, and then it's an additional dimension where it's like just above us, where it's like a mirror world of some sort, but it's kind of like astral. So if I'm like, for example, like I work in a technical setting, but my spirit works in a technical setting, but more from a global level. Like, I can see it like tapping into networks and taking information that like it's literally hacking the work network that I'm working in. But I don't know that. I'm just doing my job, but my spirit is doing something completely different. And then that higher self is just in a constant meditative space. It doesn't move. It's just kind of directing everything from a meditative space. And if that's like super abstract and you can't get what I'm talking about, is written out perfectly in the movie The Fountain with the dude from I wanted to say The Gladiator, but that ain't it. He was in, I can't think of, I don't know these dudes' names, but The Fountain. If what I said interests you, look into the movie The Fountain. But other than that, man, I hope y'all really enjoy this new moon. Look forward to more videos for me back this week. I'm back in town, about to really get my study on, get this business off the ground, help my wife out, look after these children, and, you know, just continue to live life and just continue to be abundant, continue to be prosperous, continue to be happy, continue to make love, and, you know, just really enjoy life and really enjoy that call back to nature. If you guys need me for anything, be sure to reach me at hoodmystic@gmail.com. After this video, probably tomorrow morning, once I get everything set up, I'm gonna blast off that Patreon monthly moon sign reading, so be sure to tune in for that, because I'm gonna be very, very in tune with those. I'm gonna work very hard this month. Like, I tend to work hard for those, but I'm gonna really put some effort. Like, I'm not saying like I don't put effort, but, you know, I continuously strive to make those monthly moon sign readings something that you actually look forward to. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow morning. Patreon.com/thehoodmystic. And other than that, man, this has been another Hood Mystic presentation. The new moon in Pisces, raising the genius. It's some dense material, and it's kind of different. It's at different levels, and I don't want to, if you don't get it, that's okay. I'm really trying to reach, you know, the souls out there. I'm not trying to create, you know, more chaos and more sadness and all of this bullshit. I'm all about clarity. I'm all about gnosis. And if these things interest you, feel free to hit me up, hoodmystic@gmail.com. John said peace.